The wind howled a mournful tune across the lonely plains, a perfect soundtrack to Jebediah's aching heart. His ranch, a small haven nestled between rolling hills, felt more like a prison these days. Jebediah used to whistle while mending fences, his heart light with dreams of a future with his sweetheart, Clara. But Clara had chosen the bright lights of the city over the quiet life of the ranch, leaving Jebediah with nothing but memories and a vast emptiness. He wasn't old, barely 30, but the lines etched around his kind blue eyes spoke of a weariness beyond his years. Jebediah busied himself with the daily chores, feeding the chickens, tending to the horses, anything to keep his mind from wandering back to what could have been. The ranch, once a symbol of their shared dreams, now felt like a constant reminder of his loss. He was alone, just him and the endless sky, and the gnawing ache in his chest that wouldn't seem to fade. He didn't know that the storm brewing on the horizon would bring more than just rain, it would bring a second chance. The sky, which had been a clear, endless blue just hours before, now churned with angry gray clouds. The wind picked up, howling like a banshee, rattling the windows of Jebediah's small cabin. Rain began to fall, fat, heavy drops that splattered against the dry earth, quickly turning the dusty ground into a muddy mess. Jebediah watched from his porch, a sense of foreboding settling over him. This wasn't just a passing shower, this was a full-blown storm, the kind that could uproot trees and flood the creek. He secured the loose items around the yard, bringing in the chickens and making sure the horses were safely in the barn. The storm intensified, lightning flashing across the sky, followed by deafening claps of thunder that shook the very foundations of the cabin. Jebediah retreated inside, lighting a kerosene lamp as the daylight faded completely. He knew he was in for a long night, alone with the fury of the storm, a mirror to the turmoil within his own heart. The isolation of the ranch, usually a comfort, now felt oppressive. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, clawing at the cabin walls. Just as Jebediah was about to settle into his worn armchair with a book, he heard something faint amidst the storm's fury. It sounded like a cry, a desperate plea carried on the wind. He strained his ears, thinking he must be imagining things. But then he heard it again, clearer this time, a definite cry for help. Jebediah hesitated. The storm was raging, and venturing out into the darkness was incredibly risky. But he couldn't ignore the possibility that someone was in danger. He was a cowboy, and cowboys helped those in need. Grabbing his thick oilskin coat and a lantern, he stepped out into the tempest. The wind immediately tried to rip the lantern from his grasp, and the rain stung his face like 1,000 tiny needles. He took a deep breath, steeling himself against the elements, and started walking towards the sound, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. He hoped he wasn't too late. The lantern light danced erratically, barely cutting through the downpour. Jebediah stumbled through the mud, the wind pushing him back with every step. He followed the sound of the cries, which were growing weaker now, leading him towards the creek. As he neared the bank, he saw a figure huddled beneath a willow tree, shivering uncontrollably. He rushed forward, his heart pounding in his chest. As he got closer, the lantern light revealed a young woman, her face pale and streaked with rain. She was wearing a tattered white dress, ripped and muddied, clearly a wedding gown. Her dark hair was plastered to her face, and she looked utterly lost and terrified. "Are you all right?" Jebediah shouted over the roar of the storm, kneeling beside her. "What are you doing out here?" The woman looked up at him, her eyes wide with fear. I don't know," she stammered, her voice barely audible. "I'm lost." Jebediah knew he had to get her out of the storm, and fast. She wouldn't survive much longer in this weather. "My name is Jebediah," he said, his voice firm despite the howling wind. "I'm going to help you. Can you walk?" The woman nodded weakly, and Jebediah carefully helped her to her feet. She was unsteady, and he had to support her as they made their way back towards the cabin. Inside, he quickly got her wrapped in a warm blanket and sat her by the fireplace. He offered her a cup of hot cocoa, which she gratefully accepted, her hands trembling as she held the mug. As the warmth began to seep back into her, she finally spoke. "I'm Seraphina," she said, her voice still shaky. I ran away." Jebediah raised an eyebrow, but didn't interrupt. "For my wedding," she continued, tears welling up in her eyes. "I couldn't do it. I didn't love him. I panicked and ran. The storm," she explained, "had disoriented her, and she'd been wandering for hours." Jebediah listened patiently, his heart softening with sympathy for the lost and heartbroken bride. He knew a thing or two about heartache himself. Jebediah listened, offering Seraphina a comforting silence. He understood the feeling of being trapped in a life that wasn't right. "You're safe here now," he assured her, his voice gentle. "The storm's not going anywhere tonight, so you can rest. We'll figure things out in the morning." He showed her to a spare room, offering her a soft nightgown and promising to find some dry clothes for her in the morning. Seraphina, exhausted and emotionally drained, gratefully accepted. As she lay in the unfamiliar bed, the sound of the rain lulling her to sleep, she couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. She was safe, at least for now. Jebediah, meanwhile, sat by the fire, lost in thought. He couldn't believe the turn his night had taken. From lonely solitude to rescuing a runaway bride. Life, he thought, was full of surprises. He banked the fire, ensuring it would last through the night, and settled into his armchair, a strange mix of emotions swirling within him, concern for Seraphina, a flicker of hope, and a quiet sense of anticipation. The next morning, the storm still raged, though the wind had died down somewhat. Jebediah woke early, the scent of brewing coffee filling the cabin. He rummaged through his late mother's belongings, finding a simple cotton dress that might fit Seraphina. He laid it outside her door with a pair of his thick socks. When Seraphina emerged, dressed in the borrowed clothes, she looked a little less like a runaway bride and a little more like a woman finding her way. Jebediah had prepared a simple breakfast of eggs and toast. They ate in comfortable silence, the only sound the drumming of the rain on the roof. "Thank you, Jebediah," Seraphina said finally, breaking the silence. "For everything. I don't know what I would have done without you." Jebediah smiled gently. "You're welcome, Seraphina. We all need a little help sometimes." The storm outside continued to rage, trapping them together in the small cabin, giving them time to heal and, perhaps, to find something new. The isolation forced them to connect. Days blurred into a rhythm of rain and shared moments. With no electricity, they spent their time reading, talking, and playing old board games Jebediah found in the attic. He told her about Clara, about his dreams of building a life on the ranch, and the pain of her leaving. Seraphina, in turn, shared her story of growing up in a wealthy family, feeling pressured to marry for status rather than love, and the courage it took to finally break free. They discovered a shared love for books and a similar sense of humor. Jebediah found himself laughing again, something he hadn't done in months. Seraphina found comfort in his quiet strength and genuine kindness. She helped him mend clothes, and he taught her how to whittle wood. The storm raged outside, but inside the cabin, a different kind of warmth was growing, a warmth that had nothing to do with the fire in the hearth. They found solace in their shared loneliness, and a flicker of something more began to ignite. Even with the storm raging, the animals needed tending. Jebediah, bundled in his oilskins, showed Seraphina how to feed the chickens, her initial apprehension quickly giving way to delight as the birds pecked at the grain in her hand. He taught her how to milk the cow, a clumsy but hilarious process that ended with both of them covered in milk. He explained the importance of each task, the rhythm of ranch life dictated by the needs of the animals and the changing seasons. Seraphina, who had never known anything beyond the gilded cage of her privileged upbringing, was fascinated. She found a sense of purpose in the simple acts of caring for the creatures, a connection to the earth she had never experienced before. Jebediah watched her, a smile playing on his lips. He saw her shedding the layers of her past, revealing a genuine spirit beneath the polished surface. He showed her the beauty of a sunrise over the plains, the quiet majesty of the stars at night, things she had never noticed before. He was sharing his world with her, and she was embracing it with open arms. Serafina, in turn, brought a lightness back into Jebediah's life that he thought he'd lost forever. She saw past his heartbreak, recognizing the kind and gentle soul beneath the surface. She didn't pity him, instead, she encouraged him to embrace the future, reminding him that one disappointment didn't define his entire life. She would listen patiently as he spoke about Clara, offering insightful observations and helping him to understand that sometimes, people simply weren't meant to be together. She reminded him that he was worthy of love and happiness, that there was still a whole world of possibilities open to him. Her presence filled the cabin with laughter and warmth, chasing away the shadows of his past. She encouraged him to pursue his passions, to fix up the old guitar he hadn't touched since Clara left, to start painting again. Slowly, tentatively, Jebediah began to believe in himself again, to see the potential for a brighter future, a future that might even include love. Serafina was helping him heal, one gentle word and kind gesture at a time. Finally, after days of relentless rain, the clouds parted, and the sun peeked through, casting a golden glow over the landscape. The storm had passed. The creek, swollen but not overflowing, sparkled in the sunlight. Jebediah and Serafina stood on the porch, taking in the breathtaking view. "It's beautiful," Serafina murmured, her eyes wide with wonder. Jebediah nodded, but he was watching her, noticing the subtle shift in her demeanor. There was a sadness in her eyes, a hesitation in her movements. "Someone will be looking for you," he said gently. "Your family." Serafina sighed. "I know," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I don't know if I want to go back." She looked at the ranch, at the animals grazing peacefully in the pasture, at Jebediah standing beside her. She had found something here, something she had been searching for her entire life, a sense of belonging, a connection to the earth, and a growing affection for the kind-hearted cowboy who had rescued her. Leaving felt like leaving a part of herself behind. Jebediah took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew he had to say something, to tell her how he felt, even if it meant risking rejection. "Serafina," he began, his voice a little rough, I've enjoyed having you here. More than you know." He paused, searching for the right words. "You've brought a light back into this place, a light I thought I'd lost forever. You've made me laugh again, made me believe in possibilities." He looked at her, his blue eyes filled with sincerity. "I know this is probably crazy, and you're probably going to leave, but I had to tell you. I'm starting to fall in love with you, Serafina." He braced himself for her reaction, for the polite rejection he expected. But Serafina didn't say anything, her eyes searching his, a soft smile playing on her lips. The silence stretched between them, filled only with the sounds of the ranch coming back to life after the storm. It felt like an eternity. Finally, Serafina spoke, her voice soft but clear. "Jebediah," she said, I think I'm falling in love with you too." A wave of relief washed over Jebediah, so powerful it almost knocked him off his feet. He couldn't believe it. "I never expected this," Serafina continued, a tear rolling down her cheek, "but being here, with you, it feels right. I've never felt this way about anyone before. It's not the life I imagined for myself, but it's the life I want." She stepped closer to him, her hand reaching out to touch his. "I don't want to go back, Jebediah. I want to stay here, with you." He took her hand in his heart overflowing with joy. "Then stay," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Stay here with me, Serafina. Let's build a life together, right here on this ranch." He pulled her close, and they embraced, the warmth of their love chasing away the last vestiges of the storm. They had found each other in the most unexpected of circumstances, and they were ready to face the future, together. With the decision made, a sense of peace settled over them. They spent the rest of the day exploring the ranch, hand in hand, making plans for their future. They talked about expanding the garden, building a new barn, and maybe even getting a few more horses. That evening, as they sat by the fire, a truck pulled up to the cabin. A well-dressed man and woman stepped out, their faces etched with worry. It was Serafina's parents. They had been searching for her since she ran away, desperate to know if she was safe. Serafina tensed, a flicker of apprehension in her eyes. Jebediah squeezed her hand reassuringly. He knew this was a hurdle they had to overcome, a part of her past that she couldn't simply ignore. He would be there for her, every step of the way. Together, they walked out to greet her family, ready to face whatever the future held, their love a beacon in the uncertain night. The new chapter of their lives had truly begun. Serafina. Her mother rushed forward, embracing her tightly, tears streaming down her face. "We were so worried. We thought we'd lost you." Her father followed, his expression a mixture of relief and stern disapproval. "Are you all right?" "What happened?" he asked, his voice tight. Serafina stepped back, taking Jebediah's hand. "I'm fine, Papa," she said, her voice firm. "I'm safe. And I'm happy." She explained everything, from her reasons for running away to her encounter with Jebediah and their growing feelings for each other. Her parents listened in stunned silence, their initial relief slowly giving way to confusion and uncertainty. "A ranch?" her mother finally asked, her voice incredulous. "Serafina, you were supposed to marry into one of the wealthiest families in the state. What about your future?" Serafina stood tall, her eyes shining with newfound confidence. "My future is here, Mama," she said, gesturing to Jebediah and the ranch. "This is where I belong." The conversation was just beginning. Jebediah stepped forward, extending his hand to Serafina's parents. "Ma'am, sir, my name is Jebediah. I'm honored to finally meet you." He spoke with sincerity and respect, hoping to ease their concerns. He showed them around the ranch, explaining his love for the land and his commitment to building a good life there. He spoke of his dreams for the future, dreams that now included Serafina. Serafina joined in, describing the peace and purpose she had found on the ranch, the joy she experienced caring for the animals, and the deep connection she felt to Jebediah. It wasn't easy. Her parents were still skeptical, concerned about her future security and the unconventional nature of their relationship. But they could see the genuine happiness in her eyes, the love she shared with Jebediah, and the transformation she had undergone in such a short time. They began to understand that perhaps, happiness was more important than wealth or status. Jebediah's quiet strength and unwavering love for Serafina began to win them over. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the plains, Serafina's parents finally relented. They saw the unwavering love in her eyes, the genuine connection she shared with Jebediah, and the peace she had found in this simple life. "We still worry about you, Serafina," her mother said, her voice softening, "but we can see that you're happy. And that's all that matters." Her father nodded in agreement, extending his hand to Jebediah. "Take care of her, son," he said, his voice gruff but sincere. "She's a good girl." With their blessing, a weight lifted from Serafina's shoulders. She knew her parents wouldn't always understand her choices, but their love and acceptance meant the world to her. She and Jebediah watched as her parents drove away, a sense of gratitude filling their hearts. They had overcome the first major obstacle in their new life together, and their love had emerged stronger than ever. The future, though uncertain, seemed full of promise. And so, they began their life together. Serafina, with her inherited wealth, helped Jebediah expand the ranch, investing in new equipment and more livestock. But it wasn't just about the money, it was about their shared vision. They worked side by side, mending fences, planting crops, and caring for the animals, their laughter echoing across the plains. They built a beautiful garden, filled with colorful flowers and fragrant herbs, a testament to Serafina's refined tastes and Jebediah's love for the land. They hosted community gatherings, sharing their bounty with their neighbors, their ranch becoming a hub of warmth and hospitality. They faced challenges, of course, droughts, blizzards, and the occasional stubborn cow, but they faced them together, their love growing stronger with each passing year. They created a life filled with love, laughter, and shared dreams, a life that was richer and more fulfilling than either of them could have ever imagined. The heartbroken cowboy and the runaway bride had found their happily ever after, not in a fairy tale castle, but on a simple ranch under the vast, endless sky. Years flew by, marked by changing seasons and the gentle rhythm of ranch life. Jebediah and Seraphina's love only deepened with time, their bond unbreakable. Their ranch flourished, a testament to their hard work and unwavering dedication. Children's laughter filled the air, as they welcomed two beautiful daughters into their lives, their family complete. Their home became a haven, a place where family and friends gathered to celebrate holidays, share meals, and create lasting memories. Seraphina's parents, now doting grandparents, visited often, their initial reservations long forgotten. Even Clara, Jebediah's former sweetheart, occasionally stopped by with her own family, a testament to the forgiving nature of time. The ranch stood as a symbol of their enduring love, a beacon of hope in a sometimes harsh world. It was a place where broken hearts could heal, where lost souls could find their way, and where love could blossom in the most unexpected of circumstances. They had built a legacy, a testament to the power of love and the beauty of a simple life. Looking back, they often marveled at the strange twist of fate that had brought them together. The storm, which had initially seemed so destructive and isolating, had ultimately been a catalyst for their happiness. It had stripped away the artifice of their previous lives, revealing their true selves and allowing them to connect on a deeper level. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always hope for a new beginning, for unexpected love, and for a life filled with joy. Sometimes, the greatest blessings came disguised as storms, leading us to paths we never could have imagined. They had both been lost, broken, and alone, but the storm had brought them together, leading them to find true happiness in the most unexpected place, in each other's arms, on a simple ranch under the vast, endless sky. Their story was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of love to conquer all. Years later, Jebediah and Seraphina sat on their porch, hand in hand, watching the sunset paint the sky in vibrant hues of orange, pink, and purple. The air was filled with the scent of wildflowers and the gentle sounds of crickets chirping. Their grandchildren played in the yard, their laughter echoing the joy that filled their lives. They were older now, their faces etched with the stories of their life together, but their eyes still sparkled with the same love and affection they had found during that fateful storm. They had weathered many storms since then, both literally and figuratively, but their love had always been their anchor, their guiding light. "Thank you," Seraphina whispered, leaning her head against Jebediah's shoulder. "For everything." Jebediah smiled, squeezing her hand. "The pleasure was all mine, Seraphina," he replied. "All mine." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the ranch in a soft, golden glow, they sat in comfortable silence, grateful for the love they had found and the life they had built together, a testament to the power of second chances and the enduring magic of a love born in the storm.